This podcast may contain sensitive content for viewers at home. Viewer discretion is advised, I suppose. Silence my kittens and furries. Now is the time to lock in and listen to real podcasting.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, mind me being sick, but welcome back to the Belcher Report revival episode. I will be solo podcasting this one like a beast. So let's just jump right into it. But for this episode, we're covering both soccer and basketball. Obviously, the goated soccer team, Glizzy Gladiators, played today. And then also the best basketball team in the nation, probably even the planet, played today. The team Shoot For It. They did not play today, actually. But we're going to cover last week's episode, or last week's game, as well as what to look out for the next week. So, right off the gate, this team might be the best team in the league. Their record is 0-5, but if you ask me, bar one game where they got their back blown out by the Kenyan Pirates, which was probably the funniest thing I'd ever witnessed in my entire lifetime. They should have won 4 games. They definitely are showing up to these games and talking straight to their competition and saying, "You lucky we ass," because they're ass. One of the games they were dominating the first half. They had a 25-point lead at one point, and I really thought that was going to be the first dub of their 2 seasons that we've been tracking. And that never came. So just to kind of rehash their season so far, they do have a dynamic duo set up in the form of Alec Miller, a returning legend from the first season, and Denny, who is playing part of 2 teams, and the dude's an all-star for sure. He's a 3 machine. Got to be critical, though, during the Outlaws game. I believe the official stat line that dropped was he was 1 for 12 on shooting threes, which, wow, truly just a remarkable stat line, if you ask me. Excuse me. You can't be on this team shooting 1 for 12. Those are Julius Randle numbers from the end of the series where the Timberwolves got their back blown out. Rest in peace. And we had to deal with SGA, Shy Hitler, if you will. Alec Miller also missing from the Outlaws game. He had a inconvenience that kept him away from the game. Not sure what it was. But let's not take away from the fans' player of the game from the Outlaws game. Sean Schweitzer, who dropped 8 points, and Philip Wynn, who dropped 3 points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist. That 1 assist came on one of Sean's points. They used the power of friendship, and they really killed the basket. It's a shame they couldn't kill the game, but I do think part of that had to do with Denny's control on the ball. And, Sean, he's a very silent character on the court. Maybe he's got some light knees, a little bit of nerves, so he can't really speak up, and when he does, he just voice cracks a ton. Speaking from experience here, of course, not biased. So, really, if there's a little bit more trust in the teammates, they could get something going, and I genuinely did think the Outlaws game was going to be the first win for the Shoot For It team here. But as a regular game attender, this season has been really rough, purely because they really keep up with their title of Shoot For It, where each member of the team thinks they're LeBron, and they always attempt hero ball threes. There's no cohesion, there's no chemistry, so regularly we'll watch them play against teams that are very mic'd up and chemistry orientated, and we do see them get their backs blown out in periods of times of the game. So definitely something that they should sort out in the off season going into the next season. But that is about a good recap of the season thus far. The one thing I will touch on is, again, the Kenyan Pirates game was one for resetting the culture of the team. I mean, they were playing like the Harlem Globetrotters and really just dunking for fun on this mismatch of a team, if you will. But we have to quote the legend himself, Alec Miller, who told us, bring the whole family for this one. Shoot for It is going to be playing Pookie Bears. Pookie Bears, I believe, is also having a little bit of a rigid season, although they are a fun team to watch. And they do have chemistry. And, you know, the Shoot For It team is convinced that this might be the game that breaks their streak of losses. Personally, I have to say that as a Shoot For It fan, it has been a rocky couple months. Feels like we show up to every game, and me and my fellow castmates constantly are saying, you know, today's the day. We feel it in our bones. And then all of a sudden, they start rebounding the ball right back to the other team. I suppose that term would be a turnover. And things don't go well, surprisingly, after a turnover. Excuse me. And so, really just walking into this one, I hope that with Alex's return and a full team with a high morale, that this is going to be the one that they break through on. I do think that this one, I have high hopes again. And so, yeah, I'll be interested to see where this game goes. We will be bringing the entire Shoot For It family out. The supporting cast will be there to witness history in the making, potentially tomorrow night. So this is definitely one to watch. I do think that they have more potential today and tomorrow to beat teams than they did last season, where I didn't think they had a shooter like Denny, who even in his off games is pulling 18 points. So having somebody like that on a team is quite critical to being able to function, mainly because I didn't think last season they had any outlet of scoring outside of Alec. We really thought Sean or Phillip would step up, but turns out they like throwing bricks at the net instead. Pretty soon they're going to be able to build a new housing unit with how many bricks they've put up. But, you know, as a loyalist, we got to believe that our guys are going to get the job done tomorrow. So, fingers crossed, tomorrow's going to be one for the history books. Moving on, we got the Glizzy Gladiators coverage, and, you know, they've had a very interesting season. I believe it's 4 wins, 0 draws, and 5 losses. I would potentially that number is going up after today's game. So, a couple things to break down for this one. Luke Corey, team captain, makes his managerial debut because he has a MCL sprain that kept him out of the game. And, you know, from a coaching perspective, I thought he really did do his best to get a band of misfits, if you will, to cooperate with each other. But I attached this picture of Lukaku because that's what everybody looked like during the game. It seemed as though every player, including the opponent team, was trying to play hot potato with the ball. There was no touches, and it was just, let's see how far I could smack this Johnson, and let's let it fly. And they did. So some of the goals today were quite atrocious. As the manager commented in the post-game, it was a brutal game to watch. It's definitely a brutal game to play in. And, you know, the 4 goals that were put up today were definitely interesting ones, especially the one the Gladiators scored where the keeper went to go pick up the ball routinely with his hands and the ball went through his arms and into the net. Truly a wonderful goal, but from a goalkeeping perspective, I would go home immediately in the middle of the game. Regardless, Team Noggin, they had this ginger guy on the field who was moving like Maradona, and, he definitely put belt to ass on this team at times. Definitely one of the issues from a perspective of on-field management was that defenders were not tracking back or tracking their man, which was very interesting, and definitely a frustrating experience as a long-term Gladiators watcher. But not a bad start to his managerial campaign. There's a lot of things to work on that he could build on. And, potentially this could be a short-term managerial campaign as the season's over. So we'll look to see where that MCL sprain is at the start of next season. Fingers crossed he pulls through. But for the first time ever, I was involved in an intramural game. So with Luke's MCL sprain, and a short turnout for players in the game, they needed a sub. So within a 30-minute span, I was over at the game. The drive also being 30 minutes, with no warm up, no cleats. Borrowed socks and shin pads. I was loaded into the game, and I gotta die for the gaffer because he's my goat, and he did sing high praises for me as he said I played my role well. Personally, my game tactic have been pretty rusty, so 0 first touches for me. I was more of a balls coming in and I'm hoofing it into Mars kind of player. The on-field criticism was definitely there. I think at times my lack of fitness was definitely showing because apparently you require 2 good set of lungs to be able to play this sport. Nobody warned me, so I was caught off guard a little bit, but I adjusted after a few minutes. Additionally, I thought I was going to play like 5 minutes a half, and the manager had other ideas, and so did the team when during the first half, one of the star defenders went out with a knee injury, which looked like a brutal one, but he did recover in the second half. But I was definitely out there. Some comments from the team. One team member said, "Why is your friend so serious?" And our fellow podcaster was saying I was locked in. Apparently, you can't show up to the sport wanting to win anymore these days. We got a loser mentality shift, and as an OG unk myself, I'm more of a baller. I'm a winner. I would rather die than get scored on and lose a game. And one of the things I get to walk away with is that I didn't have an active fault in any of the goals I went in. So not a bad managerial campaign for Luke, and not a bad player debut for me, if you ask me. This one definitely is very interesting. A definite point to keep watching if I come out of retirement here, because I might have to for the love of the game. It insists upon itself. And, I attached this picture of Harry Maguire because I thought, we brought the same vibes on the field. Just no nonsense. Really just loves slamming the ball out. And, tried a couple ball playing skills here and there when I could. I will be critical of myself. There were definitely 2 kickoff passes right to me where I just slammed it straight down the middle of the field into the other keeper's hand. They were meant to be passes. Not one of the brightest moves on my part. But not a bad player debut, if you ask me. And I definitely enjoyed it, for the love of the game. And with that, and the season being over, We'll be interested to see how everything shifts around. I do know that Luke Corey is planning to return on the field for next season with the Gladiators, but some breaking news to follow. There is considerations for a team swap in the coming months, as Luke Corey is considering opening up a team, which is interesting. That as he was a drafted pick for the Gladiators, but does he have the chops to lead his own team, create one from scratch? And some conversations also with seeing if I could get involved with that one. A potential exit from retirement life, if you will. But more to follow as, information becomes available. So, anywho, this is the episode of Belcher Report coming to a close. Great revival episode, if you ask me. One that I definitely plan to build on. And, as these sports develop and evolve, I'll be interested to see how these episodes shift around to make that work. Following conversations with the GOATed podcast, Wacky Dynasty podcast, please go check that one out. It was vouched to me that potentially moving to a less homework-based approach to this one would lead to some joy being found. And you know what? The joy is back, and the love of the game is back. So we're back. This is Azraf, signing off for the Belcher Report.